Hello and welcome to Yoga for Calming the Nervous System. We'll start off our practice today by closing our eyes, tuning into our inner world, and noticing the breath, developing a curiosity. Where is the breath in the body? And let's lengthen it with a count. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 6. If this count feels good for you, this 4, 4, 6, go ahead and move through a few cycles. Otherwise, you can pick another count that works better for you. This is your practice and your breath, so deepen it at your own pace. But we deepen our breathing because it calms our mind. The mind and body is so connected. It feels so good to deepen the breath. Already looking and feeling so much happier just from a few rounds of breathing. So remember this tool in times of stress. Now let's get into some movement. So start to roll your shoulders back, feeling the movement underneath the shoulder blades, across the collarbones. And then switch directions, rolling your shoulders forward. Return through stillness. Lift up through the heart space and lengthen your left arm forward. Cross it across the body for a bow and arrow. Wiggle your fingers, feeling the movement through the forearm. Roll the wrist, feeling the movement all the way up through the shoulder. Look toward the left, look up and down, creating some friction inside the shoulder joint, eroding away the tension. And then look to the right, look up and down, creating some space in the shoulder. Now look left and right a few times at your own pace, really twisting through that upper trap. And now just breathe. If you'd like to do the 4, 4, 6 count, a few rounds, you can. But really focus the awareness on the space between the spine and the shoulder blade. Remembering that where your attention goes, energy flows. Release your hands down and lengthen your right arm in front of you for a bow and arrow on the other side. Wiggle those fingers. And then roll your wrist, feeling the connection from the fingertips all the way to the shoulder, that interconnection woven through the body. Look to the right, looking up and down a few times, shaking your head yes, nice and slow. And then look to the left. Shake your head yes again, nice and slow. And then shake your head no, focusing on that upper trap area, the connection from the neck to the shoulder. And then breathe at your own pace, or that 4, 4, 6. In for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. And focus on that space between the cervical spine and the shoulder blade. trap, the rhomboid. So many muscles layered in here. Create a little bit of space for the flow of energy, blood, and lymph. And then relax your hands down and roll your shoulders back one at a time. We've lengthened the muscles. Now we'll guide a little bit of flow, both directions. And then find stillness and breathe. Let's make our way into a butterfly position. Flap your butterfly wings, opening up the lymph nodes at the junction of the upper thigh and the hip, and waking up the legs. Lengthen the left leg long, turn toward your foot, flex and point your toes, waking up the foot, waking up the ankle. Feel the squeeze in the calf, and then pulse your knee. A little ischemic compression. Reach your arms up, turn toward your foot, and fold forward. Frame your knee. Let's take a spinal flow. Inhale up through the back of the head and exhale, forward fold. A few times at your own pace, moving with the rhythm of the breath. And then sway side to side over your knee, getting your conscious awareness into your lower back. When you're ready, find the full expression of your forward fold, whether it's up here or all the way down here. It does not matter. We are just lengthening the back of the left leg. If you'd like to make it a side bend by turning toward your bent knee, you can. Here you can flow your top arm, or you can just relax in your forward fold. Get a little curious in each of these postures, especially the longer ones. Walk your hands back up and bend that knee open and close, draining any stagnant energy from the leg. And we'll switch sides. Lengthen that right leg long and start to flex and point your toes. Waking up your foot, waking up your ankle, and then pulse your knee, waking up the whole leg, shaking it loose. Maybe roll your ankle, moving all the way up through the hip joint, cleaning out any cobwebs in there. And then turn toward your foot. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, fold. And then take that spinal flow, inhaling up through the back of the head and exhaling into the forward fold. 3 rounds. And then sway side to side over the knee, peeling the low back away from the hips. Creating that space. Beautiful. And then take your forward fold, remembering that it doesn't matter what it looks like, but it matters how it feels in your body. Feel free to experiment with movement here. Maybe you want to turn your upper body toward your knee, make it more of a side bend, or maybe not. You can flow that top arm, guiding movement through the lymphatic system. And then whenever you're ready, make your way back into your seat. Now that we've opened up all the parts of the body, we're going to get into a little self-massage. So bring your fingers to the space behind your ears and make some small circles in both directions along the outside edge of the ear where the ear meets the skull. And then spread your self-massage to the other areas of the head. There's no way to do this wrong. Just give your own scalp some loving awareness with your consciousness and your fingertips, finding areas that feel stuck and moving them around. And then we're going to take our fingers on either side of our ear, framing the ear with the fingers, and make some circles, stimulating some lymphatic drainage. There's a misconception that you have to be very smart to do things like this, but as you can see, that is not the case. Beautiful. Good job. Now we're going to put our fingers at the top of our neck where the neck meets the jawbone, and we're going to make some circles again. And then we're going to move those circles down the neck. Good. And then we'll take it to the edge of the collarbone. Again, make some circles, moving down the collarbone toward the center. And then squeeze the armpit, stimulating movement of the waters of the body to carry away any cortisol, stress that might be flooding your system. And now let's do the same thing on the other side. Just stimulating the lymphatic system to drain and clear, to release any energy that no longer serves you. We know that our issues live in our tissues, so we are just releasing the stress hormones. Same thing with that armpit. Squeeze it. And then rainbow the neck side to side, lengthening those tissues, guiding even more drainage. Take some spinal waves, finding some freedom, movement through the spine, provided by the stability of the seat. Giving yourself that structure that allows you to flow. And then let's take a seated cat-cow. Inhale, open your chest. Exhale, round your spine. Getting that spinal mobility every which way. And then let's take some prayer breaths. Inhaling the hands up toward the light. Exhale, pull it down into your bubble 3 times. Feeling that space around you. Beautiful. And then roll your neck. You can take full circles or half circles. You can do a bunch of rounds in one direction, or you can go back and forth. Just inhabit your body. Drop the awareness out of the mind into the body. And then maybe you want to get a little wild and crazy. Maybe you have a little anger, a little sacred fire, a little rage, and you just gotta get some weird little whines in. Maybe you want to make big movements with your arms. These are somatic movements, providing release through the body. Even a little bit of a shake, really shaking out that tension, that stress and anxiety. Good. Now let's lay on our backs. Get nice and comfortable. Adjust your hips and your shoulders. Reach your arms out to either side. Twist your knees to the right and look to the left. And just breathe into your belly. Release any stuck emotional energy at the bottom of the belly. Any feelings of powerlessness, release those from the top of the belly. And then switch sides. Knees to the left, look to the right. And breathe into the truth of your being. A spiritual being having a human experience held by the earth and the divine. Remember, you are never alone. If there's any last minute stretches your body is craving, give them to yourself. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. We are all in this human experience together. I provide free resources for regulation and spiritual empowerment. So like and subscribe to continue on this journey of life with me.